Hello world and all who inhabit it, it is I, the Great Saiyan, and I have been patiently and anxiously waiting for Hogwarts Legacy. This game looked to be the mecca of Harry Potter games in the wonderful world that inspired creativity and whimsy in most of us as children. I never got into Harry Potter as a kid, but took time as an adult to go back and check out the films. While not a super nerded out mega fan, I do really like the story and especially the world that was built. Side note, Hermione was OP and they should have given her more time to shine. When this game was announced, I was curious as to how it would turn out. They first showcased this game with 30 minutes of content and gameplay, and it was pretty promising. Usually games either show no gameplay and all marketing and pre-rendered stuff, or they show so much gameplay and marketing to hype up the game and it ends up not being an accurate representation of what it actually is. This was different. They showed so much of this game with confidence, and every time it wasn't the best looking game ever, but it looked true to what we would actually experience. W for them. I am absolutely obsessed with this game, so let's take a look together to see what makes Hogwarts Legacy every Harry Potter fan's dream.
There's the Hogwarts Express. Must be returning from an unscheduled run.
The main thing that everyone is playing this game for is the world, so we'll start there. This is one of the most interactive worlds I've ever seen. Everything feels alive and playful, from the enchanted brooms and other household tools to the food, paintings, and even furniture around Hogwarts. Not only in the castle, but in the actual world. There are so many icons on my map and places to go and experience. I don't ever know what people want from an open world. They always call it empty if there's not enough to do, but call it an Ubisoft Fetch Quest clone if there's too much to do that's not important. Hogwarts Legacy nails it though. There's fun side stuff to do if you want to explore every facet of this world, but there's also enough in passing from main quest to main quest to where if you're just trying to complete the main storyline, you'll still experience what this world has to offer. One of my favorite things introduced is the beast rescuing. Adding new and unique beasts to my bestiary can be challenging, but also super satisfying. You need different spells to grab different beasts, like Levioso for flying ones or Disillusionment to sneak around some of the more skittish ones. It's on the same level as Pokemon Legends Arceus to me. Obviously, one is a whole game built around that mechanic, but Hogwarts Legacy gives you just enough of a snippet to see what capturing beasts in the Wizarding World would be like. I was doing every side quest that came my way, but soon the world opened up and I got overwhelmed by the sheer amount of voice acted and story driven content. Not every side quest is this long, expansive DLC level performance, but also every quest isn't a fetch quest. It doesn't feel like it's just there to pad the game. Every side quest either begins or ends with dialogue options to tell you more about that person's specific situation. If you just want to do the quest, you can skip over it, but if you're truly intrigued by the characters in this world, you can ask questions and dig deeper into who they are. That level of attention to detail is what pushed it over the edge for me and has me so entrenched in this world. Aside from the unique people you meet and the stories they tell, there's also some really cool traversal options. If you've seen any of the marketing for this game, then you know that you can fly all around this world. Well, mostly. Some areas are restricted to mounts, but that's so you don't try to cheat your way through whatever puzzles they have, which are plentiful. There are mini games, time trials, and races you can unlock with different quests, and that gives the broom more purpose than just traversal. Much later in the game, you unlock mounts. These beautiful creatures allow you to travel faster for much farther than you can on just your broom. Your broom is great for quick trips, but if you're going anywhere far, you want to use your mounts. Speaking of far, this world is huge. I knew it would be judging by the file size and what they had shown, but I had no idea they stray this far from Hogwarts and show us this much of the Wizarding World. I originally thought this game would be Hogwarts, the surrounding area, maybe a village or two, and Hogsmeade. But as I play more and more, I'm seeing this massive world evolve and envelop me. Fast travel points have become my best friends. Everything in this world is a puzzle, and just like the books and movies, it's often up to you to solve it, with there not usually being in-game hints or that thing where the character talks to themselves and it's really just them meant to give you a hint. In one of the main story quests, I was stuck on which spell to use to help me climb up and settled on Wingardium Leviosa to move a box and then Levioso to raise it off the ground just high enough for me to jump and boost over a wall. That's some really cool level design. There are a lot of spells in this game, and I prioritized any side quests that gave me new spells to use on dark wizards or goblins. The combat is interesting. It's not the most intricate thing out there, but it's not boring by any means. It's a really good representation of what wizard combat would look like in the Harry Potter world. The movie's fight scenes were mostly anemic beam clash. I'm a big fan of the targeting system. Whether it's enemies or interactive world objects, it always just seemed to know what I want to target. I rarely have to use R3 lock-on. It's that good. You have 4 spells, each with their own unique cooldowns relative to their power in battle. You have a basic attack button too on the trigger, and you're gonna use that to extend combos and help decrease cooldowns. I normally don't like trigger combat, and and I've stated that multiple times before, but it just feels good in this game. I don't know why. Combos feed into your ancient magic meter, which lets you get off one-shots on enemies, if not just doing really big damage. I love how creatively they implemented this. Sometimes your ancient magic will ragdoll your enemies and beat them against the floor, and other times it'll change an aggressive wolf into a harmless little lamb. It's interesting the effects the finishers have on new enemies you encounter. You can add additional effects of your magic in the talent section of the menu. Talent points are given to you every time you level up, which can be as quickly or as slowly as you want depending on how often you explore the world outside of the main quest. With my talent points, I added 3 extra spell sets and as much additional damage as I could via curses, AoE, and multi-hit effects on my spells. For instance, my Confringo hits 2 extra enemies when it lands, and my Expelliarmus curses enemies, allowing me to deal extra damage. Stringing combos along is pretty simple. You could just mash your basic attack, but you'll never be strong enough for that to be it. You'll have to add in spells and switch between sets to win battles. Enemies will often shield up in purple, orange, or red bowls, and you have to use a corresponding spell of that color to break that shield, or else you can't do damage. It's really cool and encourages you to switch between spells. The red spells are more of the attack focused ones, so I have 2 red spells in my main set, an orange and a purple. If I'm executing a combo and use my purple spell and it's not off cooldown, I have to switch to another set with a different purple spell in order to break an enemy shield who just so happened to appear with the color spell I have on cooldown. I'm really enjoying the combat. Targeting is smooth, combos flow, and adding additional effects to your magic just helps lends itself to your playstyle. Speaking of style, your clothes also help you in combat. Usually aiding in offense or defense, your clothes are both amazing to look at and important for battles. I love my outfit's appearance, but if I run across a more powerful set, I'll change to that, press square, and then change the appearance back to what I like, all while keeping the stat increase. I actually didn't know you could do this at first and was getting pretty annoyed at how bad my outfits look. Some clothes can even have a level 1, 2, or 3 trait attached, giving more effects in battle. You can find these traits in the world, but the good ones you get by receiving magical items from the beasts you rescue and take care of. The best traits give extra defense against specific types of enemies or give your combat plants extra damage. Oh yeah, combat plants. You could throw out Venomous Tentacular to poison enemies, Chinese Chomping Cabbage to do massive damage, or pull out Mandrakes to hit multiple enemies at once. These, along with potions, help aid you in combat and give you an extra edge over the enemies you face. And yes, you can use the Killing Curse. I really like how they didn't just implement magic, but implemented the magical world into the combat. There's actually a reason to brew potions, collect beasts, and grow plants.
Sebastian, I've seen this before. This house, the well, the view.
What do you mean? When?
Give me a moment. I'll explain in a second.
Combat in interactive world don't mean much if the game runs like trash. I know the PC version of this game has some issues, but for the PS5 owners, it's been pretty smooth. I do notice some pop in and textures loading in on different clothing items. I also see the occasional glitch here and there, but that's par for the course in an open world as big as this one. I'm sure it'll continue to get polished, but it's nowhere near unplayable, and honestly, I don't think anyone playing this game for a good time will notice. I played this game entirely in the performance and high refresh rate modes. This game doesn't need 60 FPS, but for the $80 I spent, yeah, I needed it. Usually games forgo these things in performance modes, but Hogwarts Legacy didn't. There's definitely a resolution difference, and yes, you get some less detail, but honestly, it looks good regardless of which mode you're using. I even like how well the character models are lip synced to their scripts. I've been studying their mouths to see if I can catch one of the characters who's just completely off, and so far they've all been spot on. This isn't a first party game, and having to be made for 7 different platforms can be difficult, but they handled this with grace, PC launch day hiccups aside. I'm very impressed with this game, and if all $70 games would come out like this or better, I don't think gamers are going to complain about the price increase.
I must say, I wasn't prepared for him to be as angry as he was.
Uncle Solomon is frustrated by what happened to me, and by Sebastian for thinking he can fix it.
Even though I don't consider myself a story person, the story is actually pretty good. You're a 5th year at Hogwarts and you have a special power only a few before you have, but they're all dead, so you have to discover more and more about it and how to use it against evil with your mentor, Professor Fig. Shout out to Fig. As more and more things get discovered, your friends' individual background stories get intertwined in yours, and it makes for an intriguing tale. Plenty of side content, as I mentioned before, fuel the lore behind this game, so if you're someone who cares about stories and games, this is pretty good. I love how they interweave so much else in the world to the main campaign. This game starts out darker than most Harry Potter movies, and it's cool that they did that. Starting as a 5th year gives the freedom to tell a more mature story. You can kill in this game and your character references the lives he takes. Watching every single Harry Potter movie as an adult, I can see how they were popular for kids. Even without the nostalgia glasses, they tell a great story. I do think these stories are hindered by the childish way they're told, often with happy endings just cause when it really didn't make sense. This is a game I see they took their time with and wanted to write a love letter to the world that captivated children's hearts years ago.
How exciting.
It was exhilarating, wasn't it? I wasn't sure we were going to make it out alive.
Overall, I can't recommend this game enough. It's definitely worth the $70 at launch, but if you want to wait for a sale, that's fine too. I think this game does what so many others try to do when they license out an already established IP. This game doesn't feel like a cash grab, and when they inevitably drop Quidditch or multiplayer DLC, I'll gladly buy it because I know the quality they put into the base game. This is a great game for all and the perfect game for Harry Potter fans everywhere. I love it. Clearly. For more reviews of games and gaming products, be sure to check out my Forspoken review I did a couple weeks ago. That game wasn't worth $70, but I had fun. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.